Today's video is going to be a little different. I have several naked layouts, if you will, that I've created over quite some time. This one I created a long time ago. You may recognize it from my channel, but I am going to put pictures on these layouts. So when I created these, I had no idea what I was going to be using for the photos. So I'll kind of walk you through how I pick out the pictures, how I determine which size to put on these, and we'll kind of build these layouts out. We might add some more titles to them. They may just need the pictures, add some journaling, and they can go into our books. So let's go ahead and clear this up, and I will bring out the first layout. As I had mentioned, I created this layout a long time ago just as a birthday layout, and I focused mostly on the pinks and just kind of made it a girl's layout. I brought in some of those skunks. I do have a process video on this. I'll have it linked, but this is a process video, so if you want to see how I created this. But I printed the picture, so we just had a birthday party at the end of June, and I knew I wanted this picture to be the largest. This is my husband and I with the birthday girl. So I knew I wanted this one the largest, and I have a spot here, but then I also have a spot over here, so I could do 2 pictures or 3 4x3s. So I did print it with the white border, thinking I could trim that white border down even further if need be. So let's just lay it here and see what it looks like. And actually, we still have quite a bit of the pink showing, so I don't think we need to cut it down. And I do leave these lifted. I don't adhere all the way to the edges when I don't put my pictures down right away. This one, it looks like I did tack a little close, but we can lift him up here. There we go. I love it. Okay, so that one's gonna go there. And it happens to match her shirt pretty closely too, which is great. And then I always keep in mind flip-flops when I'm printing my pictures. So I was going through and I have some of her opening presents. I have some of these bubbles. Oh my gosh, look at his little face. So the bubbles are coming out of the machine and he is so thrilled. That is so funny. So I have 3 of the bubble machine actually. So let me find the other 2. Here's one, and here's one. So I have 3 of them playing in the bubbles. I'm thinking those could go here. And I did print those without the white border. Look at how the pink matches her shirt too. It's just, I feel like this was perfect. And there's greens, and I couldn't have planned this any better if I tried. But anyways, so I could go back through. There's plenty of room for me to add white photo mats behind these. So I think I will, just to make them pop a little more. You can see here how much more that photo just lifts up. It doesn't mesh so much. So I will cut some 3x4 photo mats for these down here. And I like how it's just kind of it tells the story. And I think since that's my favorite one, I'll have that one in the middle. And then I have a couple horizontal 3x4s. We had a beanbag tournament. Us adults did. And then here's the birthday girl on her new bench. And then I have a bunch of just 3x4s. This is their pig. How can you not get a picture of their pig? And she's showing me her chickens. So, and that's their little cat with my husband. So I have 6 more photos here, planning on flip-flops here. And look at how the pig matches. It's just, I could not have asked for a better layout for these photos. I think it's just perfect. So I do need to figure out which ones I want on top so that I know which photos to adhere down to the mats. But for right now, I am going to cut some white 3x4s. Just to make, for sure these, I don't know that these would need them since they have the flip-flops. I think those would be okay. These 3 are going to get flip-flops. So those I will not do white photo mats, but these I will. So let me go ahead and get those cut. All right, everything is in the flip flap. So I actually decided to move this one into a flip flap, and then my journaling is gonna go here. So then I can say how old she is and just tell a little bit about the day. I have a flip flap here. You'll actually see these friends in another layout in this video. Here's that little pig. Oh my gosh. Okay. So super fun. I think it went perfect with this layout. I could not be any happier with that. This does cover his eye a little bit, but I think it also tells you to open it. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'll add my journaling, and this is ready for the books. Here's a little close-up of those. And behind here, I didn't have another photo, so I actually have a QR code in this flip flap. And I get asked all the time what my QR codes are. And they're just home videos. So in this case, it's a video of them playing in the bubbles and laughing, and just a little clip of that. So instead of, putting that video on my computer and forgetting about it, I have it in my scrapbook. So then, years to come, when I'm flipping through my layouts and I come across this one, I can scan that QR code and relive that moment and rewatch that video. So that's what those are, and that's why I don't share them with you guys, is they're like my home videos. They're more personal. So I leave them in flip flaps, or a lot of times you'll see me cover them while I'm creating a layout so that they can be kept personal. I added a lot of flip flaps on this layout. I probably didn't need to print as many pictures as I did, but I got excited. So there's that one. Let's move on to the next one. This one was a more recent layout that I did on my channel. So this was using some new products from Stampin' Up, along with the Lake Life from Close to My Heart that Stampin' Up sold. I love how these hills turned out, and this delicate flower, or leaves. It's very delicate. So I do have a process video on this one as well. It's one of my more recent videos, so you can check that one out. But this one, I'll be documenting some hikes we went on. Our friends were camping, so we just went out and spent an afternoon with them. Went on some trails, found a mulberry tree. They have a lookout tower, so here's the lookout tower, and then here's the trees, or like what you see when you look out. And it was sunset. I didn't capture it very nicely in my photo, but there's a group shot. The one with the shortest arms took the selfie, so that's pretty funny. And then my husband and her roasting marshmallows. You actually just saw a layout with her at her musical, so that's fun. You guys are starting to know my friends. All right, so when I was printing these photos, I was looking at this layout. I have 3 spots for 4x6s, which could easily be broken down into 3x4s. So I could do 2 horizontal 3x4s and 2 vertical 3x4s. These are 4x4s. I could shrink them down. I could do a 3x4 and add an extra border along the side. I think I have a 3x4. So something like that. And then add journaling or another border. Bring in some more green. So when I'm printing my pictures, I keep all that in mind. But I happen to have photos that I could crop down to 4x4, and this one looks a little large. I might actually end up cutting that a little bit more so that you can see more white around it. And here's another 4x4, and then I have these accent photos of some flowers, or some close-up photos of some flowers, and those would go into, those are like almost 2x2s. They're a little shy of 2x2, and those could go in those spots as well, maybe in a flip flop. And then that would leave me a spot for this 4x4. So I could fit 3 4x4s here, or in this case, a 4x4 of 2x2s in this spot, and then a 4x4 up here. So that'll be a flip flop. And then you know how I am about the looking inward. So all of these are looking in. Unfortunately, I can only fit 2 here, but these 2 could go here. And then I kind of like the idea of the lookout tower being next to this. So let's put the lookout tower here. And then since these 2 are both us picking mulberries, maybe those should go here. And then this one, but then she's looking off the page. We could switch those 2 around. And again, I didn't adhere this all the way to the edge. Sometimes they are a little tricky to get under, so then I'll just take my spatula, but it's not actually adhered all the way, so we can easily slide that up and slide that one in. So that is the plan for this one. So we took, this layout was made to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos, and we were able to fit 13 by just shrinking them. Sometimes it's fun to create the layout and then force yourself to only print the 5 photos. And that was my original intent, but then I couldn't, like this one's a close-up of them. I'm not in the picture, I'm the one taking the picture here. But like you can't really tell they're in a lookout tower without having this photo too, but you can't tell who's in the photo. So it's nice to have both of them. And then I don't know, I just like photos too much. I can't narrow it down to 5. So, and these ones are super pretty. This is milkweed. I don't know what these are. These are just some kind of coneflower, I assume. I'm not sure what these are either. And then what kind of mushrooms are these? Mushrooms are so cool to me, but I don't know my mushrooms. Look at how that brown ties in with that toffee. I love that. So, and then of course all the greens. I don't have, there's a little bit of yellow in my photos to bring out those. Anyways, so that was my goal, was to only fit 5 photos on here, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes that just doesn't work for how many photos you want to use to tell your story. So here we are fitting, what I say, 13 photos instead of 5. Here's the next layout. So I got all of, actually this is going to flip this direction. I'm going to write my date here and do some journaling. I am going to add a title, so let me go grab that here. I'm bringing in my simple serif letters from Close to My Heart, so I have capital and lowercase. And I want to bring in more of that yellow. This is the honey butter. And I think I'm just going to put my title right down here. So I'll go ahead and cut that out. All right, so my title is going to be Newton Hills. That's where they were camping. You probably recognize that name. I've documented Newton Hills quite a few times. My husband and I like to go hiking there, so I'm thinking right about there. And then we have yellow, yellow, and yellow up here. I will use my T-square ruler to make sure I get it completely straight. I got my title adhered, and then I added this little tent. This came from an old Close to My Heart stamp set called Months of the Year, the August. And then I also did Sitting Around the Campfire. And there is a little campfire, and I thought about stamping it in the background. This should be the right size block. And I am using honey butter for all of this. That's the color in that little paper there. These lines came from the Setting the Scene, which was also a Close to My Heart. I just have some of the leftover clouds in there, but yeah, these little lines are perfect for that. So created my own little journaling box, and that's gonna go right here. And one of those clouds fell out. So we kind of brought in more yellow this way, and that's where my journaling will go. 4x4 flip-flops. Close to My Heart offered the flip-flops. Stampin' Up! Has purchased some of the flip-flops, and I'm not sure if they're still in stock. I'll go look, but if they're still in stock, you may want to load up on some flip-flops. I'll have those linked in the description box below. This one I am going to have open this direction so that it's not flipping out of my book. It's contained within the 12x12. So it'll flip this way and stay within my book. Otherwise, if it were to open this way, it would flip out of my book, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to cut my page protector. So I'll go ahead and adhere this right down to my layout. And I just like to make sure that the photo is lined up with the photo so that the photo isn't peeking out from underneath. Super quick and easy. And I'll just add my journaling, and there's another one for the books. This layout does not have a process video. This was actually a challenge. I was given these papers and these embellishments, minus the This Moment, I stamped that. And she just challenged us to use these products. So this is what I created with that. These were, I want to say 3x3 squares. They were, oh, and I think there was one that was a rectangle. But yeah, so I just cut them all down and just did a little pattern along the side here. But the photos that I have chosen for this layout, picture perfect, are of us hanging out with some friends. Look at the two men reading to the kids. It's so cute. You've seen other pictures of us reading with these kids too, and I can't take enough pictures of it. So love that picture. And here's another one, including the dog. Oh, that didn't work out, did it? And then this one, my husband's face saying, really, another picture? I might need to move. We have a dilemma. I got this lifted using my Cricut spatula. It was just lifted up on some 3D foam tape. So I can move it down a little bit so that I'm not covering so much of my photo. And I think there looks about right. I have a little embellishment down here. I also received these little enamel dots from Stampin' Up. These are Stampin' Up products, so very cool. I am just going to put a little more adhesive on my foam because, as you can see, it ripped up some of the paper, so it's not sticking as great. So we'll just make sure that our foam is still sticky. So I'm going to put this down here. I like that. I can add the date or a little bit of journaling up here. Otherwise, I might add an extra tag or maybe some journaling down here. But there is that layout. This one was super easy to put together. I just had to shift that down a little bit so it wasn't covering my whole photo. This one does have a bigger white border than this one. I had to crop this one down and size it a little differently to get everybody in the picture. There's that one. This is a super old layout that I did long ago. This paper, the striped, was a fall collection from Close to My Heart. And when I saw the pink on pink tone paper, I immediately thought, girl, birthday. And then I had this idea to do like building blocks spilling over. So I was literally just putting my creative thought on paper. I had no idea where this layout was going other than these building blocks. So I'm putting it to use today. This layout, I don't know how old it is. It has a splotch on it from inking these blocks, so I'm gonna try to hide that somehow. But yeah, super old layout. Let's go ahead and put some photos on it that I just took a month ago, maybe, not even. These are of a 1-year-old's birthday. So our friend's little one turned 1. And I have these photos, and she kind of had, it was at the beginning of July, so she kind of had a 4th of July themed birthday party. It was red, white, and blue. And you can see that in this other photo I'll bring in. But yeah, and her cake was yellow with some flowers. You can see that. Maybe. Okay, so I wanted to use this one since it's her first birthday girl, building blocks, but I want to bring in some of the red, white, and blue that were in our pictures. And so I started playing around with how I could bring those colors in, and I mounted this one, a 4x6 photo, on a candy apple red banner. So I'm thinking I could bring in red, white, and blue with some photo mats, and then my embellishments could be red, white, and blue. I know that red and pink can clash. I'm liking that this is kind of the same as the skin tones in the picture. So I'm hoping that that doesn't clash too much. And by bringing in more blues, I'm hoping I can get away from that. I'm not sure how I want my photos. I could do a strip of photos here and then do some embellishments and some journaling. I could bring one of the photos over and do like one over here and one over here. It's not the easiest working around these blocks, but I don't know for sure where I want my photos yet. I did find this in my stash, and it was from a Stampin' Up! Die cut. Let me go grab that set. It's the Everyday Detail dies from Stampin' Up!, and it's this largest one right here. I had just cut it out of Bluebird for a different project, and I used the inside portion for that project, so then I was left with this, and I just set it aside and came across it today. And Bluebird does match perfectly with these balloons in here, so I think I'm going to bring in Candy Apple and Bluebird to bring in the red, white, and blue, and then I have the white cardstock already on here. So I'm going to play around with this, kind of come up with a game plan, and I'll be back to share what I decide. This is what I've come up with for the layout. So I added a red frame around this, and I did a smaller red on the top and bottom, and then a little bit wider on the right and left so that you could see some of the peach up top. And then just this little 2x2 photo I overlapped over unimportant stuff in the picture. This is where I want to put my journaling, so I'm thinking right about here. And then these, something like this. This is like the family main picture, so I like that one up top and kind of centered. And then this one I thought could overlap the peach a little bit and just keep your eye going over to the other side. These little balloons here, they're just the stamps. I haven't done any stamping yet. I just laid them here to kind of get an idea of where I want my embellishments. These balloon stamps came from the Let's Party card making from Close to My Heart. So it's these 3 balloons, and then it does come with the strings, so I can stamp those, and I'm thinking of just doing directly to the page. And then I am thinking of bringing in the Stars and Sparklers stamps, and I have these stars here. And since it was 4th of July themed, I thought maybe I could bring these stars in and maybe add a little more blue or black around the frame. And I could kind of hide it with this, or hide that little smudged. Can you even see that on the camera? It's bothering me so much. You see it? So it's like I set this down on my white before it was dry. It's bothering me, but I don't know how noticeable it actually is. So, yeah, doing an embellishment cluster up here, maybe some stamping around all of the white to hide that. And I would just do the 3 sides, make it come together in the center, so I don't need to do the stamping there. They did have brats, so I actually could bring in some of these and maybe like that ketchup mustard bottle. I could do ketchup to bring in even more red. It's not terribly large, but I could add a banner somewhere too. And then there's that stamp. So the stamp colors that I'm bringing over is the Bluebird that matches this. I have the archival black. Since I did Birthday Girl in black, I could add some more stamping and make that black look a little more intentional. Peach matches this pink. And then Honey Butter. Her cake was yellow. Should I bring in more honey butter? And she has, let me see if I can focus. Okay, so it's a yellow cake with like pink and white florals. So maybe I can even bring in some flowers and kind of go off of her cake. I don't want to bring in too much yellow since everything is red, white, blue, and then pink. I feel like I'm doing every color in the rainbow now, but if I could bring in some of that yellow, I could really make that cake stand out more. So for my balloons, I'm thinking bluebird, honey butter. Oh, let's grab some red too. I don't have candy apple ink. I have scarlet ink. Let me grab my sample page. This is what I meant by samples. So I splotched my inks. No, I don't have very many. So this is candy apple and this is scarlet. And I think that's as close as we're going to get. If I put this over here and scarlet over here, it might be far enough away that you can't tell. So that's what we're gonna hope for because I want some red balloons. This is where I'm at so far. I got some balloons stamped up here, some balloons stamped over here. This is where my journaling will go. So I'm thinking right in here. And then I have a bluebird grill, so that could go down here. And then I did these in black just to bring in a little more black from the birthday girl. And then I have a ketchup and mustard. So I'm thinking something like that. Maybe bringing those down too. I'm not quite sure. And then here I have those strings coming over. I stamped and die cut a whole bunch of flowers from that same Stars and Sparklers. I did the flowers and then all of the barbecuing stuff. So I did some flowers in all of the colors so I could just kind of play around with them and see what fits. And I'm actually considering putting some up here to hide those. And then maybe bring some over here, down here. So I'm just going to play around with some embellishments. And I do want to do that banner as well. Also from this is getting its use today. But if I stamp this in black right here, and then have the banners hanging down in yellow, or I could even do a pattern of yellow and peach maybe to bring in some more of that peach up there. Pretty excited for what I just came up with here. So I have my balloons and my florals down and I created this little embellishment cluster. I also did this little banner. These banner pieces were looking a little boring to me and I wasn't sure how to fix that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put HBD, happy birthday, on there, but I'm not so much into those acronyms and HBD. I'm not hip like that. So I didn't really care for that idea, but they just looked a little plain and I wish they had a little something on them. So I came up with an idea and I tested it out and it actually works. So let me show you what I did. I grabbed out my Perfectly Imperfect thin stamp set from Close to My Heart. And I grabbed out this one that almost looks like confetti, raindrops. I don't know how to explain it, but it reminded me of like these sprinkles on here. So I grabbed that one out. I'm going to do blue. So I'm inking blue on there. Okay, so I have Bluebird. And then I'm taking that stamp, making sure it's clean. It didn't look clean there. Stamping it on that texture, making sure not to push too hard. So now can you see that texture on there now? And then I'm just going to put my head right over my layout here. Make sure we're all lined up. I just added texture to that. Oh, my curtains are not wanting you to see. There we go. I added texture. Let's try it with the yellow. So making sure that it's clean because we don't want to get too much blue on there. And I actually have more ink on here, so we'll just go in a different area. Get a little more ink. Ah! It would have been perfect if I hadn't dropped it. Okay, one last time. Let me know, have you done this before? This is completely, I just came up with it. I'm pretty proud of myself. So if this isn't anything new and I'm just behind, let me know. But I'm pretty proud that I came up with this. I haven't seen it anywhere. I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I can't really think of anything else to add to it. I mean, it's birthday girl and it has her big one here. So I did decide to do the black stars going around the bottom. I just felt like it brought more of the title in. And then I'll do my journaling up here. I'm going to type that out and print it up here. Let me know in the comments, did I make the red, white, and blue work with the peach? I think I did. I think the peach looks pretty good with the red, white, and blue. And I brought in yellow. Hopefully that accents her cake a little bit. One thing I would recommend with this, which I didn't intentionally, but it had sat long enough, that if you are going to ink on top of each other, make sure your first layer is dry so that it doesn't turn green. But mine had time to dry. I had it sitting here for a long time pondering what to do with that. So, all right, let me know in the comments. Have you seen that done before? And what do you think of the red, white, and blue along with the peach? I hope you enjoyed this video of putting together my layouts, finishing them off with photos and journaling. I'm going to do my journaling now and get them tucked away in my books. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was something a little different, but I am so glad to have a few more layouts done and ready to go in the scrapbook. Until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye, guys.